So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to discuss the fructification of marriage, meaning the production of marriage. Have you ever thought about this? Production of marriage. What is marriage going to produce in your life? And obviously, those who have taken my Nadi course, BNN course, they would already know what I'm going to say. But you don't need to know planets for this particular technique. You don't need to know where the Lord is placed for this technique. You will get a major flavor with just the zodiac sign. So, who is the significator of marriage? And before we get started, I'm going to be keeping my comments blocked for the first 10 minutes because I'm now starting to get really disgusting bots commenting with like naked women, semi-naked women. And the problem is now that my daughters are old enough to literally look at my channel, and sometimes in the very beginning I upload a video, they comment within like 2 seconds and they're like, "Oh, Dad, what is this? And why is it that this profile has this?" And I'm like, okay, that's it. The time has now come to really take action against this. So YouTube is not going to do anything about this. I don't know if they can. If they can, please do something. But I'm going to be closing the comments because then after 10 minutes, they don't show up. Now, how do you understand this particular part? Simple. Who is the significator of marriage? It's Venus for both men and women. We're not going to look at 7th Lord either. Both men and women. Okay, so you take Venus. Where it's placed from the ascendant, your lagna, your rising sign. Wherever Venus is placed, okay, you have to look at the 5th sign from Venus. So if your Venus is in Aries in the ascendant, then 5th from Venus is the sign of Leo. And if you don't know how to look at your Venus, go to Astrology.com, where you'll find my books, reports, consultation. And especially the thing is, most of the time people are forgetting to calculate their DST time. And with the report and software that I use, it's internally calculated. So you don't have to do the work. Most of the time, most apps, you have to understand what the DST time is. Sometimes they have been updated. Sometimes certain years, DST was taken off. So this is the main reason why I only use one software. I don't even use app on my phone. I don't have any Vedic astrology app on my phone. I've tried them all. They're not accurate. Okay. So anyway, why are we looking at 5th from Venus? What is the 5th house? 5th house is children. Okay. Just like the reason why Jupiter has its 5th aspect is the significator of children. It is going to be producing children. That's its significance. So 5th aspect shows of Jupiter is spurting out something, creating something. What are you going to create? Here we don't need aspects. We're simply understanding what an event is going to produce for us. So Venus does not have 5 and 9 aspect unless other planets are there, which is of course a Nadi thing where Venus is going to then look at those planets. But here just look at the 5th sign from Venus, wherever it's placed. I don't even need to know which house it's placed in. That's another additional detail. But if I do that here, then it's going to be 20 minutes on one particular sign. So when Venus is in Aries, what's going to be 5th from Venus? It is going to be the sign of Leo. That means marriage is going to produce, obviously, children. Marriage mainly is going to produce an ego and status and desire of, or not even desire, marriage is going to produce regal status for a person. An importance for a person. And especially the marriage increases the ego of the individual, through which they're going to be now circumventing everything in their life. Marriage will produce tremendous amount of creativity. Marriage will produce tremendous amount of light in a person, meaning the things like before marriage, let's say, this was my floor, right? This was my floor. And this was my floor up to right there. What marriage did, it brought light to many more things in my life. That's what Venus and Aries will do. So, for example, if you were just in your own cocoon, you never left your city, never left your town. Now that the light has spread, fifth from Venus, you are going far away. You're having to travel far away. You're exploring people that you never even thought you would explore. Okay, maybe you never wanted to see those people. Maybe you never wanted to meet those ethnicity and people and the races. But marriage did that. You found a new light on that particular thing. Especially after marriage, the person begins to understand their karma, because this is the house of sun, which is the soul. Soul is here to burn something. The things that are supposed to be burned will only be revealed after marriage. Now, and remember, there's things that I'm not going to discuss here on YouTube. Okay? Because I don't want to give certain mental stresses for people who may not know how to look at the deeper details things of this particular technique. Because I'm pretty much giving a surface level thing. But you can still find out what exactly is going to be, what door is going to be opening. And what is that marriage going to create? What's coming out of it, you can see through the Lord. You can see through even the nakshatras. If, let's say, Venus is in Taurus, after marriage, focus on health, investments, business, accounting, okay? And sports become active. Marriage will produce tremendous amount of competition for you. Rivalries for you. And it's saying, now go fight. So the success, what is being produced is saying, now it's time to go out in battle. And usually you will see with Venus, whenever it's in Taurus, after marriage, one of the spouses will become physically active. Even if they have never walked before, they'll start walking every evening. They'll join the gym. They'll start playing golf. They'll start playing any kind of a sports, combat sport. But one thing that happens is especially the success in one's business with this particular Venus. That is what's being produced. And the thing is, with Virgo, you will also see that this person is going to desire to have a lot of friends around them. A lot of people around them. A lot of support system around them. You will always see that. And one of the things we also see, the person will also have to face criticism in life. If you have never been criticized before, after marriage, you get nitpicked on. Error picking is going to be your forte. And you see, this is why this particular Venus, ultimately at one point the marriage becomes extremely perfect. Okay. I'm not saying early on, at one point. Because you have refined yourself so much through seeing the criticism of others, error picking by others, it refines you. Okay. And again, you got to understand, I'm not telling the full thing. I can't tell the full thing. Because I stay away from dramatic negative predictions and things. So just please know that. Now let's look at Venus in the sign of Gemini. If Venus is in Gemini, then you will see what marriage will birth to, what marriage will give birth to is constant balance between the marriage and one's own family. Constantly that'll become active. Marriage will also bring about balance between marriage and children, which will be the constant battle. Marriage brings in luxury, love for luxury, luxury vehicles. Okay. Marriage naturally, if this person wasn't interested in business before, right after marriage, they start thinking about business. They're like, how do I make my own deals instead of working for somebody to make deals? Okay. And especially this particular Venus in Libra, or I'm sorry, in Gemini. Right after marriage, the person gets interested in things like investments, stock market, cryptocurrency, where the person intelligence is dealing with the balance and imbalance of the marketplace. They get interested in those things, and it's actually good for these particular people, because when Venus is in Gemini, everything is running, too much information is coming. And what marriage allows this person to do the balancing, like, okay, which information I need to pay more attention to, which information I do not need to pay attention to. And usually you will see post-marriage, certain relationship with friends also go away. Within the first 2-3 years, certain friendships just dissolve. Why? Because you're doing that balancing act. Is this more important for me, or is this friendship is more important for me that has been with me for so long? But yes, Venus is going to produce luxury in a person. That desire for attaining luxury in a person. Venus is in Cancer. So this is a unique one. With marriage, fear and phobias become active. Okay, certain phobias, fears, OCD becomes active. Whether something's there or not, you begin to just fear unknown things. Okay. For example, you could walk into the middle of the night in a complete darkness with just your cell phone light, just to look for something. Post-marriage, now what it has done, it has awakened that sign of Scorpio. And then what these phobias and fears lead to is wanting to go deeper underneath the other dimensions that people don't look into. And this is why you will see such a person, if they didn't like astrology before, if they didn't follow occult mysticism before, post-marriage, that interest becomes active because they're trying to understand, why am I feeling this way? And especially when Venus is in Cancer, huge transformation will happen right after marriage. Marriage's job is to birth transformation. So 5th from Venus, which is Scorpio, is showing I'm bringing a change whether you like it or not. Is it good change, bad change? That's a detailed video. That's something that you have to understand, the dynamics of the lordships, which is also complicated with this particular sign. But it's going to change. So, for example, when a person has Venus in Cancer, and you already know you're 32, 33, your life is not going anywhere, job is not going anywhere, you have no money, you're living with your parents, marriage is going to be your biggest best friend, because now you're already at the bottom. What is marriage going to do? It's got to turn that around. So you're on one side of the coin. Marriage is going to activate the other side of the coin. This is what marriage is going to produce for you. And also you will see with when Venus in Cancer, person kind of like, when they get angry, people who get angry and self-sabotage their own thing. The stubbornness in the individual increases, and self-sabotaging themselves just to show the person, see, you didn't like me and now I did this. You told me not to do this, so I did this. Spouse says, don't buy this. We need money to pay here. And so now they're destroying a completely third thing that, okay, I'll take rid of this, I'll get rid of this. But it's a little bit of a complicated thing. Like I said, you have to understand the lordships of Scorpio. Venus is in Leo. What is Venus going to produce? Venus produces wars, fights, okay, and extremely goal-oriented lifestyle. This is why you will see why Venus in Leo tends to cause issues in people's marital life. Why? The expectations are very high. The expectations become high. You will see marriage requires you to be knowledgeable, have the wisdom, ability to strategize, to fight a war and win a war, and become extremely goal-oriented, not going here, there, but knowing this is what I want and this is what I need to achieve, or this is what we want, this is what we need to achieve. You can't have second guesses. This is why it becomes a difficult placement for the marriage, because marriage is going to produce this. Suddenly the circumstances around you, it may not even be the spouse, is the circumstances around you are asking for this, are wanting this. So this is why it's kind of like a, like if someone who unexpectedly becomes a king when they're not deserving, like Indra. Okay. That's what happens, that unknowingly you got married, but the production of this marriage is expecting tremendous amount of things from you, which are like, why do I need to focus on so much just to keep myself normal? Why do I have to have this aim, have to have strategies, have to have that maturity, have to win these battles for my marriage? But it's producing that. This is why the way this works, like especially when Venus is in Leo, it's always better to get married when you're established, instead of just getting married while you're only just starting into your path. No, start onto your path, make something of yourself where there is stability and title, and then when the marriage comes in, then this Sagittarius sign works much better for you. Otherwise, this is when the battles of the ego will clash, because the production of the marriage may be a little bit too difficult for a person to handle, or that type of a responsibility. Okay? And you got to understand that I'm not going to discuss most of the things here, because this is not the place to discuss, number one, because many people will be watching this. Number two, there's also, we can go deep by looking at the house lords. So we can go deep if I wanted to. That's why I'm not going into it right now. Maybe later. Venus is in Virgo, right? So when Venus is in Virgo, when you get married, what is it that the expectations are going to be? What is it that you're going to create? Not even you. What is a marriage going to birth for you? It's going to birth for you rigorous, hard work, service, sometimes giving yourself in service without expecting things. Literally, you will see you are going to be the type of person who will start doing work of the other people, because suddenly you feel like, I must work. You know those people who, even if they have all the money in the world and they can just retire and never have to work again, but with this person, if they're married, they're going to feel like I have to work. I have to work, otherwise their intelligence slows down. If you don't work, marriage, Especially post-marriage, the intelligence will slow down. And the other thing that becomes very important with Venus and Virgo, okay, one has to become completely surrenderful, humble in their life for them to maintain their profession. They have to, like, for example, you have Venus and Virgo, you have to behave like the janitor in the office. You have to behave like you are the regular administrative worker in a $1 billion company while you're the CEO. That's what marriage is going to produce for you. It's not expecting something from you. It's like, I'm expecting you to be humble. It's not expectation. Marriage says, I'm done. I did my job to get you married, and this is my result. Here, goodbye. So Capricorn is the result of that. Where especially routine, repetitive work becomes also a very important part. And especially you will see with Venus and Virgo, there's a desire to be a professional of something. You will see, you will do anything and everything to gain the highest respect of the world. Why is that? Like, you want to become the most highly respected person in your field. Because Capricorn is the original 10th house. And who gets the directional strength in the 10th house? Sun and Mars. Sun, Mars are fire and light. Because of Capricorn being in the 5th house, once you are married, you feel like, I need to give light to people. I have to be the one motivating people. Being like a life coach, business coach, motivational coach. And they actually become very good at that. Why? Because Venus is in Virgo. They went through trial and turbulences in their life to achieve some high status. So they have the ability to relate to people that, yes, I've been there where you are. You filed for bankruptcy, I did too. But look, I made it up to her. So this is how this Venus and the marriage is producing those particular results. And you will see they will do it in a humble way. They will do it in a humble way. But things have to be patient. That's another thing. You cannot expect marriage to suddenly give you everything. Things come, but things come with patience. Okay? Things come with patience. That's your virtue. But you got to understand, I'm not telling everything here. And I will not tell everything here on YouTube. These are not the type of discussions to take in a light of it as an entertainment. It's a little bit more of a deeper thing. Venus in Libra is giving birth to innovations, inventions, eccentricity, scientific intelligence. You will see, those people who get married regular, and I've known this, that's why I'm actually also talking about this. Because in my head, when I'm talking about these charts of people that are very familiar to me comes about. It happens quickly in the brain. So while I'm speaking, I'm also adding that part as well. So I've known this literally in Silicon Valley. That when Venus is in Libra, post-marriage, this person is an executive. Still is. Almost making 2-3 million a year. But they are the biggest Shiva. They became the biggest Shiva devotee post-marriage. Biggest Shiva devotee post-marriage. Like literally on certain days, on Shivaratri and all that, I've seen complete black forehead with the white trishul and a red dot on top. I mean, it's big. So, and obviously Aquarius is the sign of the agoris and eccentric people who cannot be understood by the world. So that means your marriage will not be understood by the world. Whatever you produce, people will be like, man, these guys have gone off the rockers. They've gone a little haywire. Maybe because you got into astrology so much and you've taken all these courses. And now when you go to parties and you talk about this, talk about that, and people are kind of like, oh boy, honey, you're losing your mind. How about we go on a vacation? So marriage brings in fructification of things that are going to be outside of the social norms of society. Literally, this Venus in Libra gives birth to scientific children as well. Because remember, Venus is the progeny. The thing that is the vehicle that takes the sperm to the egg, an egg to make something inside. Right? So this is why fifth from Venus will also show the progeny of it. And of course, there's so many things, so many twist and turn with this one, which you can see with the lordships, not lordship, lordships of this particular sign. But of course, I'm not going to be talking about all the things here, which I can't, which I see everything when I see the chart. But I'm giving you a very great hint, beyond great hint. And those who know Nadi, those who have been in my Nadi course, they'll already know how the fructification of that is going to take place. Venus is in Scorpio. Post Venus, life will give you so much satisfaction materially, comfort-wise, that ultimately the marriage is going to give birth for moksha. Like you will see after marriage, no matter how much you get something, and you will enjoy it for sure, but ultimately it increases the desire of letting go of that particular thing you got. Okay. So if marriage brought you all the vehicles, cars, money, everything, the production of this marriage, what is producing the child of the marriage is seeking moksha. Wanting to be in your own world, wanting to be in your own place. And yet you're in your cave of the yogi. Okay. You're in the cave of the yogi. But that cave has silk sheets and pillows, has Starlink internet, has a Tesla or Lamborghini standing in the front of the cave. That's what happens. So a person gets these things and they're surrounded with these things, but in the middle is a yogi who's simply wanting to understand things beyond these material things and planes. And it's not like it does it once and that's it. Now you're just a yogi. It hits you, keeps hitting you. Every time you get some luxury things, every time you get some big purchases, every time money comes in, it levels up its intensity to wanting to escape. So marriage for this person produces desire to escape things. Now, again, you can match this with your spouse. Your spouse may have a Venus somewhere else and they're looking for something else. And of course, especially with this one, one of the big things is you will see with Venus and Scorpio, desire to meet a guru becomes extremely important in life. Because there is this emptiness that becomes active. Venus in Scorpio, it's Radha. Just think about Radha and think about what she wants. You can give Radha the house of Bill Gates. You can give Radha the house of Jeff Bezos. And as soon as she enters, and if she doesn't see Krishna, she will turn around and leave. If in her bank accounts the money is not speaking the mantra of Krishna, she will let go of the bank account. If the car is not being driven by Krishna, she doesn't care if it's $1 billion jet propulsion to the moon car. She'll let it go. So think of Venus in Scorpio as what the mind of Radha will produce. It doesn't even have to be in any nakshatra. Whatever Radha is desiring within, that is the child that is being produced in the marriage with this Venus in Virgo. Venus in Sagittarius. Venus in Sagittarius shows the marriage will require you to become brave, strong, determined, forceful, angry, and standing up for the right thing. Marriage, okay, makes this person the man and the woman they are to be. So if you were mama's boy before marriage, you had an arranged marriage done, right? Venus is in Aries. Usually I've seen with Venus in Aries, person will reject many proposals in the beginning, and only later they will choose the proposal. Especially if the family is going to someone, they will let go of that proposal. But if somebody else is coming to them, they will be taking that proposal. But Venus in Sagittarius will show that one has to now suddenly pick up a sword, pick up a bow and arrow, pick up the gun, and protect. You were a mama's boy, now you got to become a man. Somebody else was, cutting the firewood for you, lighting the fire for you, cooking the food for you on the fire. Now you have to do everything yourself. So you will see such people, whether it's a man or woman, the energization and activity becomes the most important. Like this, the marriage produces actual activity, physical activity. And especially you will see, you will start jumping into things immaturely. Whether it's business ventures, whether it's work, whether it's, health decisions, marriage, life decisions, you will jump into them like you don't know how to swim, and you'll be like, okay, I don't know how to swim. I'm jumping. God save me and show me how to swim. Instead of some instructor showing me how to swim, I'm going to jump and learn how to swim. And this is becoming the production of marriage. And it's not like it lasts just for like a month or 2 months. No, this is it. You are constantly going, this is what is going to produce. This is what is going to produce. And this is why you will see with Venus and Sagittarius, you'll desire to look young. You will desire to look fit. Because Mars, which rules the sign of Aries, represents a boy who is in his late teens to mid 20s. Like 18 to 25, you can say. So they want to always prove the marriage through their valor and through their youthfulness. Okay. But yeah, when the enemy comes knocking, spouse not opening the door, you are going to have to open the door. You have to face those fights. Okay. But also, that ultimately, whether you get it or not, ultimately you become so bold, you can walk out in the darkness without a flashlight. Because you'll be like, what else you got, God? I'll face it. Because now, it's like a UFC fighter. You know why they actually become fighters? They love the pain of somebody hitting them. That's why they're so good in fighting. They can withstand the pain. And it's like a high for them when somebody hits them. There are those conditions actually in a chart or in life mentally. This is why you will see people who keep getting tattooed because they love that pain of that needle. They feel like they're becoming stronger. They're becoming bold. They're becoming stronger against the society. So that desire for that pain makes them a great fighter. So this is why marriage ultimately makes them love that pain. And again, this has nothing to do with you having money or not after marriage, you having success or not. That is seen from other things with Venus. I'm just simply saying what is producing on one end. So, Venus in Capricorn. Marriage produces money, wealth, opportunity, love for luck, desire to suddenly that a person wants to become closer to families. Even if they don't like their own family, they want to get closer to the family. For them, the focus on family becomes important. For them, the focus on being alive becomes more important. Like even if this person does not do well or succeed, they definitely after marriage will have all the conveniences in their life. They get all the cars and home and everything. And the thing with this particular Venus is this. It's very important. And you will learn this more when I open up my Taurus age activation course and Taurus secret thing next week. Okay. Venus in Capricorn, if you know it's going to give success, this person has to automatically jump into either occult or Buddhism. One of the two is going to do. It's going to produce something connected with that. Okay. And especially the thing is, post-marriage also you will see, whether it's a man or woman, you get ornaments. You get ornaments, gems, collection of jewelry. On the other hand also, lust increases. Lust does not see, there's different variation of lust is like you're with your spouse and then you have lust for someone else. The lust that I'm talking about is that the lust to be with the spouse increases. To be intimate with the spouse increases. And especially, like I said, the big one, cash flow of money increases in this person's life. But that's the production. That's what marriage is giving birth to. Is security. And you have to provide security to the family as well. You will see this person becomes extremely protective of family, of children, of the spouse. Overly protective sometimes. Kind of like a crocodile or bull protecting their young and their cows around them. Like, have you seen a bull? Like when I do my photography sometimes in nature and I'll go to farms where there's a bull surrounded by cows. Of course, there's like a fence, and you probably have seen me on my Facebook page on Kapiel Raaj Photography. I've taken pictures of these cows. Beautiful picture. And on the side there is a bull. But I wanted to get a better picture, so I took 3-4 steps and then the bull just started to come in the front. I'm like, all right, dude, I just want to take a picture. That's it. Because you know what? That bull can either destroy that fence to come after me or they can even jump over that fence. You don't know their ability. And so when you think about these things, you understand that this person is going to jump over the fence to protect their family. That is the gift of marriage. That is what marriage has given birth to. You know, it's like when somebody has children, they can be like, God, I don't like this child. They're not listening to me. They're like, here, take him back. I'll put them inside me and take him back. Now, that's not how it works. When the child is born, the child is born. They are your child. That's how it works. So Venus in Aquarius, what is it going to produce? What is fifth from Venus? The sign of Gemini. It produces duality. It produces duality in life, duality in marriage. Meaning, you will make sure that when you are going out in the marriage, your wife is like your Radha. Your husband is like your Krishna. Because now you're showing that one side of the pair. See, Gemini is not twins, ever. Gemini is the male and female trying to balance each other out and holding each other. Because one is pulling on one side, the other is pulling on this side. So what happens with marriage, like fake, like you will see certain couples have to become fake. Like celebrities couples. They're kissing, they're holding each other in front of the cameras and all of that, right? That is one side of the twin devil show. Or not, again, it's programmed as twins since childhood, but is one part of that being. The other part of the reality of this is that production of eccentricity. Like especially when Venus is in Aquarius, the person will have to not only deal with, like, let's say you have 2 kids. You don't have 2 kids, you have 3 kids. Because here you're going to deal with also spouse who will have the childlike behavior. Their behavior will change from one thing to the other. The decision within the marriage changes one thing to the other. And of course, the main thing that you will see that will be produced with this is that desire for lack of communication. Because the thing is, there's so much of communication back and forth between what is being produced and the marriage itself. Too many ideas every day, too many discussions every day, too many things. Like, it's like you feel like I have to say this to my wife. I have to say this to my husband. I must say this. I must point this out. Oh, look what I just watched. Here, look at this, look at this, look at this. And at one point, it becomes so overwhelming, you will desire for lack of communication. But because it is Gemini, okay. First of all, this particular Venus gives the quickest results of what the marriage is going to produce. Number 2, achievements are the big domain of this particular marriage. Marriage suddenly activates your desire to have some big achievements. If before you didn't care, now you will. And courage. You're going to be forced to show courage within your life post-marriage. It's not like you're showing courage in front of your spouse. I'm saying everything. One has to show courage in order for them to keep their married life balanced. The moment you frown, the moment you get away from that courage, now you have to deal with whatever the fruit that is going to give, and it's not going to be a pungent fruit. It's not going to be a ripe fruit when that courage is not there. You will also see post-marriage, the person gets activated on social media. The person suddenly wants to now open up some business on social media. Can you do it? And I can't answer that. I have to see how your Saturn and Mercury are placed in the birth chart to show success in career. Why? Because Saturn is your profession, Mercury is business. I need to see what link they're forming with one another. But yeah, that desire comes about because it is what's producing. It's producing and it left. But the production will always be there, like a child. Venus is in Pisces. 5th from Venus is Cancer. That means marriage is going to produce emotional support in a person's life. Marriage is going to produce laziness in a person's life. Why is it laziness? I thought that would be controlled by Saturn. No, because sign of Cancer is the original 4th house where Sun is transiting around midnight. What are you doing at midnight? You're sleeping. And even if you're not sleeping, you know you're yawning and your eyes are shutting and your brain is saying, dude, enough. We gotta go. Even though you're 20-year-old partying in Mardi Gras till 2 a.m. But the body says, I am who I am. So what marriage produces is that area of life that provides you with the comfort so you can become lazy. Now, in this case, you can already see the Venus is in its exalted position. In Pisces, exalted is not good or bad. It's the highest morals or the lower morals. How is it that morality is sinking in with this person? And especially what a person expects and gets from the marriage is that the environment of the mother is active. It's like you're wanting to be taken care of as a child. You are taken care of as a child. But even if you're not, that's what you are missing. That's what you are wanting. Just like your mother was treating you and taking care of everything, that's what you are now expecting as well. That's what you're desiring to expect from the marriage itself. But the main thing is they want security. Marriage produces security. Marriage will produce focus on security, focus on home, focus on real estate, focus on, comfort. That is what this production of this marriage will be. Now, I'm not talking about how your spouse is. I'm not talking about how well the marriage will go. I'm saying what is it that marriage is going to produce, whether you want it or not. The feelings that it will produce. Like I said, if Venus is in Scorpio, it's going to produce desire for moksha. I'm not saying you're going to get moksha. But that desire to escape things will become active. That's what is being produced. Now, once we see the lordship, where it's gone, then you'll understand what is it that the ultimate result is of this particular marriage. What child it has given birth to. So, of course, if I did that with one video, it was going to be like crazy long. Okay. So this was my video of Venus and marriage producing some form of a child of your marriage. Thank you.